What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 4 of Mega Talks. I'm Christopher Thompson. Today's guest comes out of Texas. She's an IFBB pro athlete, an NPC judge, a police officer, Fit Cops representative, a member of GASP and Better Bodies, with appearances in magazines such as Muscle and Fitness Hers, Muscle Magazine, and her own personal calendar for 2017. She also does things such as competitive shooting, photography, and the list goes on from there. We're going to get into that interview and more right after this. All right, I'm Christopher Thompson. I'm here with speaking with Jennifer Dawn. And
hello.
Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Speaking with her on the Mega Talks podcast, and give you a little bit of background on her. She's an IFBB pro, and I hear she's an Aquarius, and she likes long walks on the beach. So
I do, yes.
And we're gonna kind of take it back from the competition days, and we're gonna take it back to birth. Like, where were you born at, and how was your upbringing? Like, how was you as a child?
Yeah, so actually I grew up in North Dakota. Freezing cold, and I lived there until I was about 17 years old. Ran indoor-outdoor track. Just was always very athletic throughout my childhood, and played any kind of sports and like football with the guys and jumping out of windows. I almost thought I was going to be a stunt man when I grew up, but eventually my senior year of high school, my mom moved us to Florida, and I ended up graduating high school in Fort Walton Beach. But I also got a track scholarship out of it, so I went to Troy. I think they call it Troy University now, but it was Troy State back then, and I went there on like a half scholarship and ended up proving myself and got a full ride for the rest of the 3 years. Was the captain of the team my senior year. So yeah, it was, just athletic has always been in my background, and I've had really good coaches that have, seen, a part of me that just needed a little push and some suggestions, and I ended up starting to lift weights when I was in the 7th grade, because one of my track coaches was actually a football coach, and I weighed 80 pounds or whatever it was. And they're like, yeah, we're going to put some muscle on you. So I took a class in high school for weightlifting, and I ended up, my PR for squats was 225 at 17 years old. So
wow, that's good.
I was pretty strong for not even being 100 pounds, but and just continue to do that through college. And then after college, there's really not a whole lot of sports for females. You have the flag football and stuff like that, but unless you are going into this a professional sport, there's really nothing for the girls to do. So I ended up still lifting weights and everything, and I was just at the gym one day, and I guess this is where my fitness career kind of started off. Some guy randomly asked me if I did competitions. Of course, I didn't know what that meant, and I had him explain it, and he was like, there's this whole amateur side of people getting on stage and basically showcasing all the hard work they've put in. And I didn't, I always seen the girls in the magazines, and I was like, yeah, there's no way that I could ever be a part of that. I just was always felt like I was more of a tomboy, not this real girly girl.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a New Year's resolution, and I ended up doing my first show in 2010, and I placed. But what's funny about my placing is I placed 5th, but there was only 7 girls. So I was super excited.
Oh yeah.
And I
That's
went
really
to
good
another
for
show.
coming out for a first time, establishing a goal and stepping
Yeah.
out in front of people.
Yeah, the hard part was just getting in front of people. My body was not on point. There's no way I would even place even close to that, even at an amateur show nowadays, because there's so many more competitors. But it was just like the whole the timing was perfect. It was basically exactly what I needed at the time. I was in a rough relationship that was heading towards divorce, and it was just something that I needed to put my mind into something else. And fitness had always been there for me in the past, and it was definitely something that was going to, pursue where I am now. So
Now,
did that.
were you still living in Florida, or were you
Mm,
living in Texas then?
Actually, yeah. So I had actually moved to Texas. I've been living in Texas since 2001. No, wait, 2000. So,
Okay.
um, yep. Um, yeah. So after that, I just kept doing other shows, and I was still placing like top five, and
I saw you
I
had a
did.
long, really, really long list of shows from
I
2010 all the way to
loved competing.
2014.
Yeah, yeah. So I just, it was if I had I don't know, I was super motivated. I was like, I want to do this next show, and if I did well at the show that I did, I was like, okay, I'm going to do the next show. Um, and then what ended up happening is I ended up going from top five to 13, 16, in 16th
Mm-hmm.
place is no place. So it was each show I was going kind of up and down, and I was doing all national shows at this point. So I went to USA's in Vegas and I got top five, and then I would go to where I go not one of the team U's or somewhere up there, and I would get 13th place and
Mm-hmm.
fifth call out, and I was like, I don't understand
Now,
and as a competitor,
were all these
yeah.
bodybuilding, or were they because there's different ones of bodybuilding or fitness or which
hmm
competitions?
I was yeah, so I was in bikini. I did NBC bikini, and as a competitor, you just you're looking at the judges what do y'all want? I
Mm-hmm.
don't understand. I was just great at this show. It's pretty much the same judges at the next one, and I'm just not doing well. So it was super confusing, and a little frustrating. And in 2011, I did nationals in Miami, and
Oh, okay.
I told myself, I was like, it's been such a long and hard 2 years of competing. I was like, if I don't do well at this show, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna pursue something else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and it's Miami. Who doesn't want to go to Miami, right? So
Oh yeah, for
I was like,
sure.
I was like, let me go to this show. I had just placed 13th or 14th at my last show, and I get to Miami, and I end up in first call out, and I was like, okay, that's normal, that's cool. Um, I missed my mark on where I was supposed to stand. I was just all over the place. I don't know if I just wasn't concentrating or what. So I just felt like I messed up. And I was like, there's no way that I did well. When they were
Mm-hmm.
judging me, they actually took me out of the middle and put me all the way to one end, which
Oh yeah.
back in the day they used to move you pretty accurately to where your placing was. Nowadays we just kind of move people wherever. But
Mm-hmm.
so I was on the end, and I was like, oh well, at least I did well on my last show and whatever. So comes to the night show, and I'm like, everybody's getting called out before me, and I was still thinking I did something wrong. Am I even supposed to be standing up here with these girls? I didn't even get another spray tan because I just assumed that I had messed up so bad. So like
Uh,
I was just because I was ready to go out that night. I didn't want to smell like spray tan,
uh,
and everybody look at me like I'm a like I'm a pizza. It was just I
so
I didn't know,
did it
and
turn out better than what you thought it was
it
going to?
turned out amazing. I won my pro card. I got first.
Nice.
Um, and I was just high on life,
Uh-huh.
and all that work had finally paid off. Everything finally made sense. And I just needed to get out of my own head. I feel like sometimes we are our worst enemies, and
Oh,
in
your
my head
worst
I had
critic.
already failed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Plus, it's a
and
good
then
boost for your self-esteem
oh,
to
absolutely,
endure through that many competitions and not getting the results that you want, and you finally get that payoff.
yeah, exactly.
So, what do you
And
think? that drove you? Because a lot of people, they had that much frustration during their competitions and things. What kept you going? What kept you motivated? Because most people just, they would give up and, like you said, kind of just move on to the
Yeah.
next thing.
Yeah, I'm just super competitive with my own self and with, any kind of thing that I put effort into. And for me, I just needed the results that I wanted before I could leave. Like I was not giving up until I left on either a high note or I won that shit. And
So
I was like,
was it always about the number one spot, or was it maybe in the number two or number three spot?
for nationals, it's always about that number one spot. At
Okay.
least when I was competing, because
Uh-huh.
now it's 1 and 2. Like you can be one or two, but I wanted, I needed that first place, um, and I got what I wanted, so it
That's
was
cool.
amazing.
And some people don't exactly know how the competitions work, but you have to win so
Yeah.
much to get your pro card. Can you explain how you go about getting a pro card?
Yeah, sure. So you want to start, you have to start at an amateur level where it's like a local show. I mean, you can go to any state and do it, but it's like, it's pretty much usually just the locals that are there, and it's considered, an NPC. Um, then you go, and once you win, or you get like, depends on the division. Like, I think bodybuilding is like top 3, and then like bikini is like top 5. So I had to place top 5 in one of my shows in order to get qualified to go to nationals.
Oh,
And then there's different national shows too. Like you have to have like a top 3 placing to get into certain shows. And so because I had earned that, I went to a national show, and once you place at a national show, then you stay qualified for a little while. So like if you don't win, you at least are still qualified for that next year to go and to try it again.
so do you get like a
Um,
grace period for a year or two, or?
yeah,
Okay.
they've changed it a couple times, and I should know this because I do actually judge shows now, but yeah, but I'm not usually the one that tells everybody what they
When the
need to
cutoff
do to
is?
get there. Yeah. But yeah, so after you get to a national show and you place 1 or 2 in either in your height division, which bodybuilding, of course, is completely different, but
Uh-huh.
um, and bikini, you had to place 1 or 2 now, and then you win your pro card. Um, Once you win a pro card, you actually have to send in a letter to the president of the NPC, basically um, saying that you want to have that professional status, and they have to approve you or whatever. And if they approve it, then you earn it, and you're basically a pro for life, unless you do something out of sorts or you
Uh-huh.
move to a different division or something. So
Uh-huh.
or
Okay.
federation, but
Nice. So what do you think is the from your first competition until your most recent competition? What are some of the differences between um, maybe the differences between yourself and the way that the competitions are conducted?
it's definitely changed throughout the years. I used to find that it was a lot more political when I first started. I think in recent, within the last year or two, it's definitely changed for the better. I feel we've seen new faces and people that are getting um, fair shots in a sense. Like it's not like a projected winner before the show even starts. Because you should be judged on how you look that day, not what you could look like or what you
Yeah.
have looked like. It has to be judged on what you look that day, and it shouldn't be based on how many followers you have, how many, if
Popularity
it's
contest.
right, and it's not just a beauty contest either. You have women that have maybe had children and they have stretch marks or whatever it is. Like
Hmm.
you have to see past a lot of human flaws in order to get towards rewarding the hard work that people have put in. So
Yeah, I've seen that in a lot of other competitions, and coming up, I've competed, band competitions, other sporting events, and things like that. And I hear a lot of the judges talk about, well, we think you should have done this, or we think this should have been like this, but they don't judge you
hmm
on what you bring to the table. It's just about what you could
hmm
have done.
yeah, because everybody is looking for that, like that answer too.
Hmm.
But I think for me, because I actually do judge now, I've been judging since 2012. When people would send me, they'd send me 2 photos, a front and a back. But to me, they're picking out the best photo that they could possibly send me,
Uh-huh.
right? So it's like I feel like if people took a step back and looked at all their photos and they, see everything that, that they don't like, is possibly when the judge actually, looked at them and saw what is on that photo that they're not sending me.
They're gonna sniff it out.
Um, yeah, so it's like it's hard to reflect on, your body that way, and honestly, it's a huge mental game, and
Mm-hmm.
it can affect people that maybe had the biggest self-confidence in the world, and now like they're just being
It's a big,
judged on.
it's a big step to come out there, step out on the stage after all that,
Yeah,
preparation, and
yeah,
you're being critiqued, and
yeah.
you don't have that, I mean, you're not covered up that much, and you're in front of strangers. You gotta put on a show when you're out there, and you gotta display
Hmm.
confidence as well as your figure.
Yeah, and there's at least 5 to 7 judges that have all different personalities and preferences, and the sport is just so subjective. And that's why I try to tell people, like, your placing does not define you. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you could walk into the gym and everybody thinks that you look the best ever you've looked, but you put yourself on a stage with people that have looked the best they've ever looked, and something has to be compared to. Um, and it's not just like one thing that the judge is looking for. So it's like, if one person has great symmetry, but they lack conditioning, and they have, like, they are, I don't know, beautiful, whatever it is,
Yeah.
they're attractive. And then you look at another person and they don't have um, symmetry, but they got great conditioning, and they may not be that attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, which one are you going to choose? Like,
Oh
what
yeah.
what is more important to you, conditioning or symmetry, or whatever it is? And so it's like, when people are, that's why people get confused, and they're like, well, what are they actually looking for? And I'm like, well, it's like, I don't know that day. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going to show up to the show either.
Now that kind of
And
brings it into you. You competed for so long,
yeah.
and you say you judge also. How did you make the transition from being a competitor into being a judge?
Well, once I got my pro card, I did a couple of pro shows. My first NPC show to judge was actually the Branch Warren. Um, and, having the job that I have, outside of fitness, I think we're great observers, and, it's like we see things that stand out to us. So I feel like I have a really good eye at looking at things that just don't match each other. So
Hmm.
putting up 6 bodies that are supposed to look similar, and I can, like, pretty much point out like what's different,
That's
whether
hard
it's good,
work.
bad, or indifferent. Yeah. But so yeah, so I just did a couple shows. They test judge you. They see like how you're doing, and for the most part, most of our shows, your 1 or 2 placings are different with each judge. um and so that's why, like, when I feel like people are like, they feel like they got robbed from the show, and I'm like, well, every judge kind of saw exactly what every other judge saw.
Yeah.
um but
Comes down, like you said, it's kind of subjective.
it is, and the other hard part too is, especially in like bikini or men's physique or something like that, like it's like, how do you not, so if you have a girl that is like super hard, like, she probably needs to be an actually figure. And then you have a girl that is bikini, and she's got the great like athletic look that they're
Mm-hmm.
looking for. And then you got a girl that's like a little bit harder but not conditioned enough, whatever it is. It's like, it's and then we put up the girl that was like more bikini, and then the girl next to her that got second is like a little bit harder, but in photos she probably looks a little bit better than the girl that won, but that's not like what the category is.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, that's also confusing. um
Kind
and
of
it's
have to go with
also
the one that fits the category.
right, but then it looks like we're looking at girls that aren't in shape, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it's definitely a difficult position to be in. And
Mm-hmm.
um People
Now,
are going to talk bad about you, whether you choose to pick one or the other.
you always get scrutinized when you're in that judge's seat.
Absolutely. And you have to have thick skin, and I do.
Oh, yeah.
But I can, but I also, I don't mind actually people asking me about it, so I can explain it
Hmm.
easier, because I feel like sometimes people just get upset because they're not being explained why the situation is the way it is. So
Now you just judge a competition. I guess was it last weekend? Is the Dallas
mhm.
Europa Games?
Yeah, yeah. So the Europa Dallas was a 2-day show, which is a hard thing to do, especially for new competitors. So everybody looked a little tired on the second day for sure.
Yeah, keep them wore out.
Yeah, for sure. But it was a really good show. Like, people came in it to win it, and we had some really good lineups. And even though there's sometimes where like if I set a placing a certain way, another judge may not, and then it's basically up to the computer to like figure out the point system.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, so like if there's 7 of us, they throw out the high score, they throw out the low score, and that's when you get your placing. So if I like somebody for for first, and somebody else liked them for third, they're probably gonna get like second or something. It's like you don't know. So
Now, does when you sit on the judge when you sit on the judges panel, in the industry, you're gonna know certain people. Maybe you get somebody that you're kind of acquainted with or familiar with. Maybe even a friend that's competing up there.
mhm.
Do they still let you judge that person?
I know a ton of people in the industry. I am not a personal trainer, and I'm not, um, you know, I don't know. I'm not that person. Like, here's
Hmm.
here's how fair that I feel like I am. Like, when I was going through my divorce, there was a girl that was um had been dating my ex-husband, and I even judged her fairly. Like, and I was like, if I can do that, I can judge anybody fairly.
Hmm.
Like, it was emotional. But now we do have set in alternate judges. So if there's somebody that like
Okay,
you are actually like dating, or you're like best friends with, like, you step out and an alternate judge comes in.
that's good.
And yeah, that way and honestly, it's about perception. Like, I don't know any judges now on this panel that goes and says like, this is my girl and we need her to win. I
Hmm.
have not heard that in really, really, really long time, since there was somebody that left our federation that was doing that. But and it's like, I don't know. For me, being actually an officer as well, so like I feel like I judge people really fairly. I don't really give a shit who they
Right.
who they train with, who they don't train with, who they used to train with, what other federations they've competed in.
Hmm.
I don't care. Like, it's whatever is in front of me at that moment. That's what you're getting judged on.
Yeah, that's the kind of judges that everyone wants to be in front of. Somebody that can judge you fairly,
Yeah,
despite of
absolutely.
what they may have heard or your personal life or anything that's going on.
Yeah, those people don't pay my bills judging. I don't make a whole lot of money judging. It's all about like still just staying in the fitness industry, and that's where I've been my whole entire life. It's where I like to be, and judging is just keeping me there, and it's keeping me, um,
Hmm.
just around it. So
Now you mentioned some things about relationships and different areas like that. I know when you dedicate your a side of your life to maybe a certain sport or a certain activity, there's some sacrifices along the way.
yeah,
What kind of sacrifices have you made coming with the fitness career and also being just also being an officer in your line of work?
yeah. So I feel like the people that were meant to be in my life have stayed. The people that were just associates, they do their own thing, and that's, for me, fitness can sometimes be, at the time when I was competing a lot, it was a little, I would say, a little lonely, just because you would be in the gym for umpteen hours, and you'd get done, and it was like, okay, what do I need to do? Do I need to go to sleep? Should I take a shower?
Do I need to
And now
eat?
I'm, yeah, you're right. Like I was eating chicken in the shower just because like my time was so stretched. And even with work, like I would be, um, you know, answering somebody's call for service, and I would go in to like take a report. And then when I was out in the car to get something for like to give them, like I would do a protein shake real quick and then get back in there. And so it was like you do have to sacrifice and compromise, like going out, or like if you can't handle going to a restaurant and smelling the amazing food,
Oh
and
man.
how and have
Yeah.
chicken in your purse, like that's what I did. Like I would carry chicken in my purse and I would order salad, or
You want to eat everything in the restaurant when you get there.
yeah, like when the waiter turned around, I was dumping my chicken in there. So it was like,
Oh yeah. Go straight to the pie.
but yeah, and family too. Like my family was super supportive, and sometimes I would miss out on, sweet potatoes, or, that were doused
Thanksgiving,
in,
Christmas dinners.
yeah, with marshmallows and cinnamon. Like they would actually have to make me, a side of something that didn't have all the marinades or whatever. And
Oh no.
you have to be around people that are supportive of that. Otherwise, you're just going to feel miserable
Uh-huh.
when
I
it
know how
should
that
be,
is.
yeah,
I try and keep myself happy. I try and stay, fit and keep to a diet, but I need my rewards every now and then. So I try to
yeah,
reward myself, maybe every other day or something like that.
yeah,
So it's not to an
and
extreme.
exactly. And honestly, for me, I was extremely dieting when I first started, but it was bad. It was to the point where I was actually starting to lose my hair, and
Oh
my
man.
skin was just so dry. And
Mm-hmm.
but my body looked amazing, but I just felt miserable. And then once you kind of learn that you can have food and actually enjoy different flavors, like
Yeah.
and not adding all those preservatives or all the seasonings and stuff, you actually start to taste the flavoring of the food. Like,
The natural
who knew
food.
that actually salad tasted like something? It's like,
Yeah. Every
but
time I see somebody put salad dressing on something, I'm like, get that off there. I can't stand that.
yeah, I know it's like you really don't need that, but
Yeah.
but we're so accustomed to like seasoning everything and
Mm-hmm. Douse it with
not
ketchup.
really diving into the foods.
And talking about your different diets and how you're taking care of your body, I noticed in your most recent couple years, there's been something that's been keeping you from hitting the stage and competing again.
Yeah.
You want to talk about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So I was at work and I actually ended up chasing somebody and I tore my meniscus in both knees. Um, but the workers' comp doctor that I went to was crap. He didn't even give me an MRI. And
Mm.
6 months later, when I told them I'm not getting any better, I can't even do a lunge. I can't like bend my knee hardly. I can't step off a curb without going sideways. Like nothing has changed. And when I asked for an MRI or to figure out what a next step would be, they basically, he told me that let's close your case from workers' comp, and you could come in here, in on your own insurance. And I just thought that was ridiculous. But he felt that working out had caused my injury, even though the day before I went to work, I actually did like a fitness test for work.
Yeah.
And I passed it with, getting like a fitness award. And then the next day I couldn't hardly walk. And so basically his opinion of that was not accurate. And it was disappointing that I went so many months and just kept getting more injured and not able to do the kind of activity that I needed to do to
Mm-hmm.
maintain what I had earned. So I started gaining a little bit of weight. My metabolism slowed to the point where, like, even if I tried to work out at that point, like, nothing was changing.
Yeah.
And I even still did a couple shows. Like, I wore heels, like, on stage, and as soon as I walked off, like, they came off, and I was in so much
That'd
pain.
be painful. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, I didn't understand, like, why I wasn't getting any better. So I ended up finding a new doctor. I closed out my workers' comp case. went to get an ombudsman, which in the state of Texas is basically like an attorney that can help you through a workers' comp situation for free. Um, and the moment I brought all that up, um, and the new doctor had did a scope and found that my meniscus were torn on both knees and that my cartilage underneath my patella was completely damaged, and fixed what he could. Initially, he said that I was going to need like a cartilage transplant and a knee replacement in the other.
Now the meniscus is a little bowl that the bone sits down into, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's actually a relatively like easy procedure to get fixed. And a lot of people have torn it and it can actually heal on its own. But I think in my situation with my patella and the femur just constantly rubbing, it was just intense pain all the time, like always swollen. Like my knees looked horrible. They felt horrible. It was just affecting my mental status, just not being able to get into the gym. And eventually you just don't go to the gym. It's kind of like eating that cheat meal and then the next day you have another cheat meal and then
just kind of slippery slope.
Yeah, exactly. So I struggled with that for a little while. And then once my city finally reimbursed me for everything that I needed, I found a stem cell therapy doctor. And what they do is they actually take stem cells out of your hips. They mix it with, their serum or whatever it is to keep the inflammation down and injected it into my knees. And
that's a painful process also, right?
It wasn't honestly, it wasn't that bad. I did spend about, like I don't know, 3 or 4 days just kind of like not moving around at all just because my hip hurt.
Yeah.
My knees were sore. But you don't need crutches except for the one day I did, but you don't, like, you can still like walk around normally. You wear knee braces. And I felt tremendous relief from doing that. But my patella and femur were still rubbing against each other, so it wasn't healing the way that it needed to. Like cartilage takes time to grow. 10 months is what I needed, and it'd been like 13 months, and I decided to do the procedure again. This time, making sure that I wore my knee braces constantly and no heels unless it was like, an important event, and no dancing around, and no plyos, no weight training hardly, unless it was like just normal, like extensions, anything to build up my quads and weak areas that were causing my patella to rotate laterally. So
that would just reacts with different people when you have the stem cell. Some people talk about the stem cells. They don't exactly make the attachment, or they don't. I guess they like transition into where they're supposed to be, or they're kind of like dummy cells that mimic your other cells or something like that.
Yeah, once they put it in, you have to like really like kind of like not move around it as much as you can, and then once they start to do their job, they can become dormant at some point. And my doctor will do like a booster. It's just regular PRP that they take from your blood. But it like helps, reactivate them, I guess, in a sense. And he also, so it's a 3-day process. The first day they actually go in and they inflame the area that they're going to treat. And this causes that so that your body knows exactly what's messed up, right? And the stem cells are smart enough to attach where they need to go and hopefully regrow whatever is lacking. So, I've seen some really good results from other people, and good for them. I think my case was just a little bit more extreme, and wearing 25 pounds of equipment every day was not.
Oh yeah, that's no fun.
Helping it. Yeah. So yeah, and the second time I took a month off so I wouldn't have to put the uniform back on, and kept my legs up the entire time. I actually bought like a muscle stimulator or activator, so I could get the muscles reactivating, because I was losing a lot of muscle mass in one area. And even when I did the activator, like my one side, the levels would be like kind of low, and then the the other leg, it was like I had to like shoot it so high that it would finally kick in.
Mm-hmm.
Because one knee is worse than the other, but um, yeah, so I'm just kind of waiting to see if I'm if I'm getting better or not. My metabolism is finally back on track, so I can say
That's
that.
good. Now, do you plan
Yeah,
on going back into competition?
it's possible, and obviously I love to compete. I needed my body to heal. I needed to know that I was getting on stage at my best, not like just trying to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was tired of getting third call outs, and
It's a lot of sacrifice to know that you can't put 110, 120%.
it is, yeah. And competitions are not cheap. It's like travel, especially as a pro. You're traveling from sometimes different countries. So it's like I had to I had to slow down. It was hard. It's still hard.
Mm-hmm.
Even times when I go into the gym, I'm like, okay, I need to throw a 45 on there. Like I look ridiculous with this,
You gotta hold
15
yourself back.
pounds. I'm like, no, don't do that. Like just, yeah,
I used to think about that because I train, or if I live to go into the gym, I go for flexibility. I go for a high number of reps, so I use lower weight. And I'm
mhm,
squatting over there 10 pounds on the bar, and they're looking at you funny.
yeah,
But I'm
I
doing,
know,
25 or 30 reps at a time, or more, and trying
yeah,
to do that in cardio at the same time. So
yeah. Well,
everybody's workout routine is a little bit different. So your
yeah.
goals are different.
Everybody is different, and I'm glad that there are so many different types of activity now. It's not like you just have to go in there and bench press 500 pounds in order to gain like, this great looking physique of a
Hmm.
chest. It's like, no, you can go in there and freaking lift bands if you need to, and you still have
Yeah.
better joints, first of all, and you probably look, just as good. So,
Hmm. Stay toned
yeah,
up. That's the way some
exactly.
people
Yeah.
put it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you're trying to like create curves, yeah, you're probably gonna have to break down your muscle tissues a little bit harder than, just doing, 10 pounds or whatever it is, but yeah, there's other ways to do that versus just squatting. Like squatting is so bad for your knees.
Oh yeah. All right. And
Yeah.
if you guys didn't catch the intro of the show, Jennifer, she's also a police officer,
Yes.
and I want to ask you, well, not to put you on the spot, but I wanted to ask you a typical question. Why did you, in your transition of being an athlete, how did you become a police officer, and what are the reasons?
I think it's because of the fitness aspect, really. Like I wanted to do something that I thought was, you know, the elite of, being an officer is being fit, in my opinion, at the time. Obviously, my opinion has changed throughout the years because I've seen people that maybe don't look a certain way, but they are still strong and they still can do the job,
Mm-hmm.
100%. But back then I thought like, oh, this is like, I could be a police officer. I'll be strong. I'll be fast. I'll be, just kicking ass, not like kicking people's asses, but like, in a sense, like for like pride wise, like, you're a female, you're not supposed to be a police officer.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, no, I want to do that. Like, why not? Like, why? I, I've always had jobs where it's like had a sense of responsibility for something. And I was like, I care about people. I care about making the world better. I
You know, make
am
your
able,
contribution.
yeah, and I was like, let me pay my dues. I thought about going into like the U.S. Marshals where I like to find people that have like, just done the most heinous crimes to somebody and like go and find that person so that victim knows that somebody cares about them and,
Mm-hmm.
and just,
So
I don't know, for me,
you like the challenge aspect of it also.
yes, yeah, I like to be challenged and I like feeling that I helped somebody, whether that's, putting, whether that has to be, me putting their own father in jail for hurting them or, just stuff like that. It's like, I'm the only person that has a job like that,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. It's weird to know that like you make such an impact on people's lives, whether you like try to or not, but
Oh yeah. Whether you wave
handing
at
out
them
a
or not
sticker.
wave at them, you're still making an effect on somebody.
Exactly. Handing out a sticker to a child, like I've had, children come up to me like years later and like they remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about community policing and trying to get the community involved and actually making it safer for everybody. And um
So we kind of talked about your best day as an athlete, and kind of your worst day, with the injuries and things like that.
yeah.
What's your worst day on the job? Or maybe
Hmm.
you don't have to tell the story, but maybe what's one of your worst days in short. You don't have to be detailed on.
Yeah, I think, obviously everybody I think says working with children that have been, affected by evil, it's just straight evil, and not being able to help them before they get to that point where either they have taken their own lives or they have advanced into other criminal activity that now you have to um, respond to as well. And so it's really good to see like when you can affect somebody's life and they don't go towards crime, or they don't think that the only place on earth is only within their own block, and um,
So you're
that
almost
there's
in
life.
trying to be proactive in the catching them
Yes,
before they get to a bad spot.
yes, absolutely. And it's even when I talk to them, I'm like, what do you want to do? How was school? Like, what do you want to
Mm-hmm.
be? Like, because for me, like, that was how I feel like I became what I did. Because there's just power of suggestion. I was like at a career fair, and there was like a booth, and there was officers there, and it was like they made a suggestion. I was like, yeah,
Had
I
that
could
effect
do
on you.
that. Yeah, and it was like when I was a child, like some officer gave me, they had like these, I don't know, random like trading cards back then.
Oh,
And
okay,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
I
and it's
remember.
like, yeah, they like gave me one. I was like, okay, what is this? And then like I seen them respond to like this crime where this wife had like stabbed her husband or something, and I was just like, how do they deal with that? But I don't know why, but I want to like fix that.
Yeah,
So
that's nice. And what's your kind of explain them both in one? But do you have say your best day?
best day.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the best day is when I'm putting somebody in jail for something really terrible, and it's like you finally just caught them, and the victim can just now like be relieved
Mm-hmm.
and feel safe. And um when people come up to you like years later and just say thank you for putting me in jail, which is hard to believe,
Yeah.
but at the time it's like they didn't think that, but now it's like that actually saved my life, or that kept me out of trouble from like
Mm-hmm.
going out with their buddies, knowing that they were planning like, some kind of hit, and like, you
It
know,
totally changed trajectory of their life.
exactly.
That's what I tell a lot of people. Everybody's one step away from either success or one step away from non-success or danger or failure or whatever you want to label it as. But
Yeah,
you gotta stay on the upside of it, and you gotta stay climbing the hill, not
yeah,
going backwards.
exactly. And I feel like I just have life experience. Like I didn't grow up with a bunch of money. Like I grew up where, we were dragging our laundry to the laundromat. We were getting, food with our food stamps, and, going to the Salvation Army for clothes. And, so it's like I feel like connected to the
Mm-hmm.
community that I work with in a sense. And, um, and then other experiences in my life that I've gone through. And it's like,
You can totally
you have
identify
to,
with the
yeah, you
things that
have to
people
identify,
go through.
maybe not like say, like, I know how you're feeling, because obviously, that changes for everybody, but like, I understand it. I understand why somebody's angry at, a situation that is, especially in the news lately, like I understand why you're angry about that. But
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about why things happen the way that they did, um, and work through that, or agree to disagree.
Oh
And I
yeah.
feel like people don't even do that anymore. Like they're so
Mm-hmm.
hateful, and they're just like, I don't agree with you, so I'm gonna
You
go
can
and
respect somebody's difference in opinion without going to some type of battle about it.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. I got a little list here, a little top five list I was
Uh,
going to ask you about. Well, but before we go to that, I'll ask you one more question. Um, 5 goals, and I'm going to give you a choice. Would you rather, um, do you have 5 goals to complete before the end of this year, or do you have like a goal to complete within the next 5 years?
I recently bought a camera and I've been um, g- trying to learn it so I can actually get in behind it and sort of instead of just being like the girl that gets her photos taken. Like I want to like actually start doing photography. So that's a long-term goal, I think,
Hmm.
because it's not going to happen overnight, and I don't have time for to do it like in a month. It's like it's something that
Yeah,
but I would like to do.
I can see you're back to back busy most of the time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I want to buy another house. I want to, maybe trust a guy again and like fall in love and
Hmm.
I don't know, like there's obviously little things in life that like I've either wanted to do or just haven't done yet. So, and those would be a few of them.
So you would say you'd rather have 5 years to complete a goal.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
I can understand that because there's long term and there's short term, but to put those goals in the life perspective is pretty broad.
Yeah. Short term, I want to get better faster.
Hmm.
But that's not necessarily like something that I have control over. So, um, but yeah, I can retire in 5 years.
That sounds good to me too.
I know, right?
uh, all right, I
Yeah.
have the top 5 here, and it's something. Well, I may hear you talk about it sometimes, but not too often. What's your, let's say, top 5 songs that are out there, and what do you enjoy the most? Or maybe you just have a specific genre. Maybe you have multiple genres of songs that you like.
I just love, I know it sounds so cliche, but I really do. I really love all kinds of music. That's one of the things I really do like about judging is when people and competitors come out with all their music. Like, I'm not like, I have my phone up, but I'm like Shazamming their songs.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I like this song, and like, and so I can go back and listen to it later. And but yeah, so mostly what I listen to is actually hip hop. I do like EDM or EDC, I think it's called now, and um, some country and just rock and roll. I went to Metallica the other day.
I saw that.
Yeah, I pretty much love to listen to everything. I'm not really big on maybe like the girly pop stuff. Um,
Hmm.
unless it's unless I'm with my nieces and I'm trying to like empower them.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, you can do it. See, they're telling you you can. But
Not
that's
so
what I
much
would like
top
them to
40.
listen to. But yeah, as far as for me, I guess, I like to shake my booty and have a good time and
Hmm. All right. We have top 5 movies.
top five. Um, see. Oh, G.I. Jane is definitely my top five. It's so old school, but it was very motivating for me back in the day.
That's Demi Moore,
Uh,
right?
yeah.
Hmm.
And then comedies. I love comedies. Like we went and watched Rough Night the other day, and it was really funny. Um, what else?
Hmm.
I like murder mystery stuff, and Netflix has some really cool ones on called The Fall and The Killing were really good.
Oh yeah. I hadn't heard of those. I may have to check
Yeah,
them out now.
yeah, for sure.
All right, and we have
Um,
top 5 cars.
top five cars. Ooh,
Yeah.
so I was in a Mustang. I don't know what it is yesterday, but it was so fast. And like, obviously, we're not going to go over the speed limit, officer,
Oh yeah, you
but
wouldn't want to do that.
you can like get up and go real fast, and I like that. Like I'm like, okay, let's go. Like
No, it had
make
to
sure
be
that
it
make
had
sure
to
the
be a
intersection
5
is
speed.
clear, and then go.
I've
But it was
owned
like
a
a
few
5.0.
Mustangs myself, and
Yeah,
they'll get up
me
and
too.
go. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, like he had this whole like sports package, like just incredible, super fast. Like
Hmm.
yeah, some kind of 5.0 Mustang. So, but and then what else? anything that's just unique. I like cars that, where the doors lift certain ways and
Oh
the
yeah, like the Gold
interiors.
Wing Lamborghini.
Yeah, something cool. Like, I'll never be able to own one, but whatever.
It's always that possibility.
Oh, that's true. I shouldn't discount it, right?
Mm-hmm. Sky's the limit.
That's right.
And then, did we talk about the guns?
We did not.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, we got here top 5 guns.
I would say Glock because it's super easy and just you can pick it up and just shoot. And I like my HK. What else? We got open range tomorrow, so I'm gonna take this TCM in. It's supposed to like have no recoil, and
Oh yeah. What caliber?
it's a 9.
Okay.
But I don't know. I guess it's pretty amazing. So I'll have to let you know how that goes. But
Yeah, for sure.
And then what else? I don't know. A little Smith and Wesson's always good.
I like the SP-101s. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything with less recoil and just as much power is good with me.
Oh yeah, I like that. I had a friend one time, and he brought to the range. It was a 9mm Glock, and it was compensated. And I used to tease him. I'm like, you actually need to compensate it for a 9mm, just so it feels like a 22, I guess.
Right, but why not?
Oh yeah, it compensated 45.
Yeah. Oh wow.
For the
yeah.
50 cal.
Yeah, I still have yet. I bought a 32, and I still have yet to send it to the tactical or the guy that I want to get it upgraded to because it's going to cost me like $1,500. But
Now that's for competition.
yeah.
Oh, man.
I've been looking into getting into competitions. So, but it's a process, and
You have those expensive hobbies.
I do.
Those are the best hobbies, though.
I know, right?
The ones where we go out and sacrifice our bodies and then spend a whole lot of money doing it. But I mean, shoot, that's part of life.
It is. If you joined a hockey team, like you'd be paying for whatever, and then your medical expenses to get your teeth put back in. So.
Yeah. All right, and the last one here I have, and you'll probably enjoy this one, I know. Top 5 males, or men.
Men. God.
You're doing right now.
Where was he when I needed him? No. You mean like actors and stuff?
Well, it doesn't have to be actors. It can be anybody, but it's it's your choice.
I'm not fixated on anybody specifically. I mean, I just like a guy that's actually fun and wants to like not be an asshole, like just
be the typical jock.
yeah, just like honest and honest and looks good, doesn't have to feel like he has to look good though, like he's not all like super, I don't know, I can't explain it. I feel like
he can be a little bit reckless and still be a good guy.
Yeah, a little reckless, a little rough. I like usually guys with light eyes, doesn't sweat all day long.
Where are you going to find somebody that doesn't sweat all day long?
Oh, it's an inside joke, but just I don't know, and doesn't want to like have sex with every girl around me. It's like definitely want somebody that can commit if it's necessary. Yeah, but likes to have fun and just go out to dinners and try new things if there's something new that's opening and invites me to it or finds out about it and we just go. So
integrity and loyalty is
absolutely, yeah, and doesn't use cocaine.
Oh,
Can I get a guy in Dallas that does not use cocaine, please?
That came out of left field. That one hit me.
It's just, I don't know. I feel like drugs are so like trendy.
Oh yeah, it's like It's
nobody
like
really
the
cares
60s all over.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, do you not see me standing here? Like, what,
Yeah.
what's going on? Yeah.
It's a different world than it was, shoot, even 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, it really is. And dating is not easy. And I don't do online dating, so maybe I'm missing out. But I just feel like I have to meet somebody in person to
Yeah.
know if we're gonna mesh or not. But
That's what I'm talking about. That's the one thing when I was, starting the podcast. I've done podcasts before, but it's just been like DJ music or something like that. But
hmm
talking to people just on the phone is kind of impersonal. But when you meet them face to face, there's a whole lot more that the vibe that you pick up on. The eye contact, even the smell.
yeah,
How they move, if they're interested or not interested. There's a lot of
exactly.
elements that are missing when you speak to somebody just on the phone or shoot,
And
even when you
somebody can,
text them.
yeah, and somebody can seem really weird on social media. Like they'll make like really weird comments, right?
Yeah,
But then like I've met them in person. I'm like, oh, they're not that bad,
they're normal. Yeah. It's
you
like
know.
sometimes I'll send something, I'm like, I hope this comes across as like, I have a sense of humor and not like, oh, he's a weirdo. Like, what are you doing? Don't ever talk to him again. He said this, but you meant it as something different.
Yeah, no, I'm quick to block some people though.
Yeah, it's definitely a different town. Especially with all the contact, all the connectivity that we have between each other.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up, and I appreciate you giving me the time to talk.
I feel like we talked a long time. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
People
I
are gonna
enjoyed
be
the conversation. Do you want to plug social media or any of your sponsors or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. So I got a couple. So Jennifer Dawn Pro is mostly my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And I also have Alpha Girl Shooter on Instagram, Facebook. And then sponsors that I work with are Fit Cops, Alpha Outpost, Safari Land, and Recoil Magazine. I do stuff with like one of the writers with Breach Bang Clear and Mad
Nice.
Duo.com. And then oh yeah, Bombshell Squad Official, which is like girls that are empowered by guns and stuff like that. So it's super cool. But yeah, that's usually my main ones, and then I have a few that like are just kind of there for posting and stuff like that. So
Cool. All right. And that's a wrap with our interview with Jennifer Dawn. I'm going to thank her one more time for coming by and giving an awesome interview. Check our show notes. I have some links there for our social media so you guys can follow along. Also follow me at Megatalks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You'll be able to see all the news updates for future shows. And also be sure to subscribe to my iTunes and leave a review so I know what you guys think about the show. And I got episode 5 coming that you don't want to miss. I'll be speaking with 10th Planet Black Belt and gym owner Brandon McCatherine out of Decatur, Alabama. So make sure you tune in. Don't miss that. I'll see you guys, and I'm out of here.